All right, hey y'all, this is Karma. I'm going to do this again. I'm sorry, we are in the shadow of Mercury retrograde. I'm having a lot of technical issues. So we are facing a lot, obviously, as a country right now. We are in the midst of the Chiron return as far as the US's chart. And Chiron, again, is our pain. It's our suffering. Wherever Chiron is located in your chart or in the chart of, the US like we're looking at right now, this is this is where the wounding takes place, right? So if we look at what America was built on, there was a lot of pain and suffering, and there's a lot of pain and suffering in regards to individualism. And our Chiron, as the US, is in Aries, and Chiron is in Aries right now. So there is this need to be individuals here in the West, but then there's also scrutiny for it. And a lot of people do not want to look at the history of the United States, but, it is built on some pretty bad things. And many of our presidents had slaves, and that's just the reality. Is as hard as it is to swallow that, it is true. If you think of the story of Chiron, he was a centaur, and centaurs are said to be very beautiful, and he was not, and his mother shunned him. And that's where the mythology of Chiron comes into play, because it talks about our suffering that all of us have as humans and that we have to go through in this lifetime. So America is really under scrutiny right now in regards to this Chiron return. Chiron is about us facing those deeper portions of ourselves and the uglier sides of ourselves. Now, I think that it's important that we really look at what's happening, especially after the meeting yesterday. When I filmed the first video, it was before that meeting with Zelensky and Mr. T. And that was just pure chaos, if you were watching. And I really have little tolerance for bullies. I think it's really immature and wrong. And so there is kind of this bully energy that is coming in and has been present in America. So what can we do? Well, the time is always right to do what's right, right? So you have to speak up. You have to boycott. You have to stand on what you believe to be true, because with so many loose ends right now, it's going to be really difficult to feel stable. The other thing too I want to touch on is, the United States was built with Chiron and Aries. So we have this like individualistic energy of America where we really need to be individuals, and that's good. I feel like that's celebrated, but I also feel like it's like ridiculed against. Again, the Chiron energy is about our suffering. Okay, so I'm going to be very frank in this video because I feel like I have held back quite a bit, and I feel like it's better to talk about it now while I still have free speech. We have Sun square Uranus, and that is like, there is going to be a buildup of attention. There's a very unpredictable energy here. I feel like this is, and we're technically entering the shadow period of Mercury retrograde. So Venus retrogrades tomorrow. Then we're going to have an eclipse this month as well. So it's just a lot of heated energy, you guys. When we have Sun square Uranus, this can mean like because the sun represents like the masculine, right? So this is like the males squaring up to Uranus, and it's like, it's all about outbursts from the people. I mean, there's no real nice way to say it. It's almost like a car burning out on the side of the road, and it's like you're trying to fix it, but you have no idea what you're doing. So that's kind of the energy right now, is like the tension, you can cut it with a knife. It's very, very intense right now, you guys. Try to be proactive with positive change. Like for today, not buying anything or spending money is a good way to protest. Your dollars is a wonderful way to protest if you're not someone that can physically go out into the street and protest, okay? I do think it's going to get to that point. I think M-law is going to be established, and I feel like if you look into what South Korea just did, I think the U.S. is going to do something very similar. And I'm nervous, but I also feel like we have to at this point. I'm going to tag a page in the bio, or not the bio, in the info here, or the caption. And I want you to check them out and check out their website. I'm not going to say their name on here because I don't want to get bananaed, but they have a lot of interesting results. And I think a lot of people think like, oh, it's over, we can't do anything. The 25th Amendment Read the Constitution, okay? The 25th Amendment means in extreme situations you can take someone out of the O, okay? And then also there are 3 45-day windows after the popularity contest from inauguration, or I'm sorry, from popularity day, 45-day windows. So March 20th is technically the cutoff, and that's still an approximate number. With the Sun square the ascendant, there's going to be a sense of like people trying to dominate you at this time. And then Moon squaring the Mars is like violence against women, because Moon is like the feminine, right? So or even what they're doing, what they just did in Iowa, that's very like Moon square Mars energy. The Constitution is being violated. So no matter what side of the spectrum you're on, I think I've weeded out most of the MAGA followers, hopefully. But you cannot violate the Constitution, okay? That is what this country is founded on. And I do think obviously some things could be changed and be better, but at the same time, that is like the playbook. And again, when we look at Ilani, he is a Cancer rising and Mr. T is a Leo rising. So he's in T's 12th house of like secrets. And not to mention T has Saturn natally in his 12th house as well as Venus. That's why he's a cheater and a weirdo. But Saturn in the 12th house means your secret enemies come out to get you. So like that's how you're going to feel your pain and your karmic retribution is through the people that are your secret enemies, not your open enemies. That'd be the 7th house, right? Your secret enemies are hiding in the shadows. You don't always know it, but sometimes your friend can be more dangerous than an open enemy. So again, I don't think this situation's over, and I think that it's important that you don't feel helpless in it. We have a lot of people that are suffering right now, people that are going to be cut from benefits, people that are not going to be able to get their medical treatment, people that are veterans, like my uncle, who's not going to get his pension or whatever it's called when you've been in the military for your whole life. And all these people being laid off, you know, the way to really get to people is starve them, make them broke, you know, natural weather disasters, which we're definitely going to have. He just fired a bunch of scientists that tell us when, you know, the weather's coming and, you know, what to prepare for. So we're in big trouble right now, you guys. So do I think it's going to get better? Yes, I do. But I think it's going to get really scary at first. So again, and I've said this so many times, please have water. Please have supplies. Beans are a great thing to have, dried beans, because they last a long time and you can cook a lot from a little. So think of the things that you might need. Coffee, bouillon powder, whatever you might need to survive. If you have pets, make sure you have pet food. If you have babies, make sure you have whatever you need for them. Because I do think there's going to be some sort of lockdown. I'm not sure if it's because of the flights or if it's because of the M law, but I do think that's coming. And I know a lot of people are really struggling financially. So, you know, you can get a lot of these supplies at the Dollar Tree. It doesn't have to be something that just totally wipes you out financially. Just a little bit at a time. You know, you still have, I'd say, a week. Not much time. Things are going to really intensify this week. Yeah, it's going to really intensify, you guys. So, I do feel like it's going to be like more destruction, more chaos. Again, that Pluto. And then we have the Aquarius, which is like filming, trolling, creating a page where you're spreading information, creating, you know, like cause mischief. You have free speech still, so use it, you know, use your dollar as protest. And if you don't care about any of these things, you should think about the people that might be affected, even though it might not be you. You know, think about the people that are going to be affected. People with children of special needs, people that rely on, you know, Medicaid, like older people that don't have anyone to take care of them. Like there's, you know, this is really, it's giving eugenics vibes, which just means like, it means eradicating people until you have the ideal race. And that's exactly what Mustache Man did. Today, I literally had a guy that was like trying to like go out with me, tell me like, oh, don't worry about it. It's not going to affect you. And that like offended me. Like, even though it might not affect me, it does affect me because I care about other people. And so I think this is more a question of humanity than it is a question of right from wrong. Like, I mean, I think that there are times in life where you have to stand up and be like, this isn't right. I can't do this. And if you have made the choice to buy into whatever the hell he's been doing. A lot of people don't know this about Mr. T, but he was coached by Anthony Robbins, and Anthony Robbins is very powerful. I went to one of his seminars. Like, it's NLP, neuro linguistic programming, is what a lot of times T will do when he's speaking, like the accordion gesture with his hands. That's very NLP energy, because he's lying when he's doing that. And you can look into body language and it'll tell you the accordion gesture. It's just going to be a lot, you guys. So it'd be better to be prepared. Some things that I'm going to do personally is I got my passport renewed. I'm going to get a carry and see, just because I think that's something that I will feel better if I have that. Making sure I have all my documents in order, making sure, I don't know, just, it's almost like I think everyone can feel it, that it's that kind of energy where it's like the other shoe's about to drop. The tension is not just playing out in world events. It's playing out in our own consciousness, our own energy, how the world interacts with us, how we interact with the world. So I would say don't make major decisions until May. Let this unfold if you are planning to stick it out. I could totally understand why somebody would want to leave the country. If I didn't have my animals, I would. But I don't know if Canada would take me with my animals. So, I have to stick it out for them. But I think that right now is a time where we have to really stick together. We have to be there for each other. We have to support one another. We have to stand up for one another. Like what happened in that Idaho town hall was ridiculous. Someone should have sat with that lady and made sure she wasn't able to be taken away. I always felt like Pluto and Aquarius was going to be the uprising of the people, but I saw it happening much differently, but I knew there was going to be upheaval. I just thought the upheaval was going to be for a different reason. So, but it's so interesting that so many people could be on the same energy and feel like something's off. Like there's one thing to be like in denial, but then there's another thing to be like listening to your intuition. And when you just know something's not right, you don't just say, okay, whatever you want. Yeah, that sounds good. Like, no, like question everything. Because if you ever thought to yourself, oh, I would have done this during slavery, or I would have done that during the Holocaust. Well, you're there, baby. So you're there. So what are you going to do? Pluto and Aquarius is about the uprising of the people. And it's about collective consciousness coming together and working as a team. But I think in America, we've been extremely spoiled. So it's like we've never really felt what that's like, at least in our lifetimes. So we have to collectively rise together.